Hi everyone, my name is Mark Quinn. I'm a tax advisor and chartered financial planner living and working in Portugal, and I help clients relocate here or clients that are living in Portugal already with their tax and financial planning affairs. And in this video I just wanted to cover very quickly a question that I'm often asked, which is, do I have to bring all my assets and investments into Portugal if I'm becoming a tax resident here? So this video actually stems from a client meeting I had earlier on in the week. The clients I was speaking to had a range of investments. They had ISAs in the UK, pensions, cash, and also a stocks and shares portfolio. They were looking to move to Portugal under the D7 visa. D7 visa, just as a reminder, is the visa that requires you to demonstrate that you're in receipt of a certain level of what we call passive income, so rental income, pensions, interest, dividends, which they were. But they were concerned about making the move because they were under the impression that they had to relocate all their assets immediately to Portugal in order to qualify, which isn't the case. Certainly under the D7 visa, although there's a passive income requirement, it doesn't state that passive income has to arise inside of Portugal. And for any other visas or mechanisms to get into Portugal, like the Golden Visa, D2 visa, D8 visa, D6 visa, E6 visa, and so on and so forth, there's no requirement at all to bring assets into Portugal. Now, having said that, there may be reasons to do so. So if we look at ISAs, for example, ISAs are a tax-efficient investment from a UK context. They're not recognised once you've left the UK. So if you move to Portugal, leaving your ISAs in place, they lose their tax shelter. They're a tax wrapper from a UK point of view, but other countries don't recognise that tax shelter and would just tax the underlying assets. Now, having said that, even if you don't necessarily have to remove assets from the UK and bring them to Portugal, there may be good reasons to do so. Certainly from a tax perspective, there are certain tax efficient investments that you can hold inside of Portugal, or rather effective for Portuguese tax residency, but not necessarily held in Portugal. So when we're structuring our client assets, they're generally based outside of Portugal for tax and security reasons. The other dimension, which may be worth thinking about, is inheritance tax issues. Now, the goalposts on how IHT is assessed from a UK context changed in October, or was announced in October rather, in the budget, UK budget, October 2024, came into effect on the 5th of April 2025, such that now, if you've been outside of the UK for more than 10 out of the last 20 tax years, you're no longer subject to UK inheritance tax. You become what's called a non-UK long-term resident, and therefore you have the opportunity, if you're extracting assets outside of the UK, for them to be completely tax-free if passed down to your beneficiaries on death. There is no inheritance tax in Portugal. It was abolished in 2003, so this is kind of the easy side of the planning from an inheritance tax point of view. But the point I was just trying to make is that there may be advantages of restructuring your affairs and certainly bringing them outside of the UK, although the first issue is they don't have to be, there's no compulsory, there's no requirement to do so, but it may be worth reassessing and looking at your overall affairs in light of the changes to inheritance tax, and also optimising tax efficiency if Portugal is now going to be a long-term home going forward. So, as I always say, this isn't advice, it's for information only. But if you have any specific questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.